Alright, so with our first topic, we're going to talk about pronoun agreement. Yesterday we talked about subject-verb agreement, making sure that our subjects agree with each other, our verbs agree with each other, and then subjects and verbs agree in full and complete sentences. So with subjects, we also need to make sure that we have pronoun agreement. Meaning, if we use a pronoun in a sentence, it needs to agree with the original subject that it talked about. So here, pronouns are words that take the place of nouns. So person, place, things, quality, or idea. Those are all pronouns, or what pronoun can take the place of. In fact, the word pronoun means for a noun. That's the literal term. Pronouns are shortcuts that help you keep from repeating words in your writing. So here's the example. Kellogg makes breakfast cereal. They have been making it for years. You wouldn't say Kellogg makes breakfast cereal. Kellogg have been making it for years. It's just very redundant and repetitive. So of course, they talks about Kellogg as a company. Because they talks about Kellogg as a company, Kellogg meaning multiple people, that's why we use they instead of it. If we were just talking about a specific entity, we'd use it. But because we're talking about Kellogg containing multiple people, we use the word they. So just like subjects and verbs, pronouns must agree in number with the word or words it replaces. If it replaces a singular noun, it's still singular. If it replaces a plural noun, it's plural. So note, the word a pronoun refers to is also known as the antecedent. So just in our last sentence, at the very bottom, Kellogg makes breakfast cereal, and then they is the pronoun, Kellogg is the antecedent, meaning what word it refers to. So, pronoun antecedent, you might hear me refer to it from time to time, but think about the pronoun and what word it refers back to. And then indefinite. You'll find out in a moment what indefinite pronouns are, but they're always singular, no matter what. So those are words like someone, everyone, everybody. No matter what, they are always singular. And then we have subject and object pronouns, where they take the place of a subject or an object. And then we have possessive pronouns. So, of course, possessive pronouns show possession, and then demonstrative pronouns demonstrate. So what is a pronoun? Of course, just again, a pronoun is a word used in place of a noun or another pronoun. So here's an example. Marge went for a walk. Well, obviously, Marge is our subject, and it's our formal name that we would need to replace. She went for a walk. So that is the personal pronoun we could use instead. So personal pronouns refer to specific persons or things. That's why they're called personal, meaning they take the place for the person or thing. So Karen ate pizza. She was hungry. She is a personal pronoun for Karen. And that makes me really hungry right now. Number 2, reflexive pronouns. Of course, thinking of reflexive, it reflects back. So the pronouns that have self or selves added to the end are reflexive pronouns because they refer back to, Bob finished the homework himself. So he did his own homework. It's reflexing back to he, Bob. So far we have personal pronouns and we have reflexive pronouns. The third type of pronouns are indefinite pronouns. So those are the words like someone, anybody, and everyone, and those are indefinite pronouns. We don't know who the person, place, thing, quality, or idea they're talking about, or we don't know what specific. So of course, the example here, someone stole my wallet. Of course, do we know who stole it? No, at this moment in time we don't. So we use the word someone. So, personal, reflexive, indefinite. Number 4, a demonstrative pronoun is used to single out one or more nouns referred to in the sentence. So demonstrative pronouns are this, that, these, and those. These lemons are sour. The word these is a demonstrative pronoun. It's demonstrating. So as you can see, what do demonstrative pronouns have in common? So knowing that demonstrative pronouns all start with the letter T is what can help you think, oh, demonstrative, it's demonstrating. This can actually be used in place of my pronoun or my formal noun. And then we have interrogative. So there are many types of pronouns. With interrogative pronouns, of course, what word does interrogative have inside of it? Yeah, interrogate. So interrogative pronouns, they ask a question. They're interrogating. So who, whom, and which are all interrogative pronouns. And just like demonstrative have T in common, interrogative have W in common. So which shoes are mine? The word which is an interrogative pronoun. 6, possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns are, of course, used to show ownership, but they do not contain an apostrophe. This is the one instance when you are showing ownership, you won't have to use that apostrophe. So ours, his, their, and her are all possessive pronouns. The word his in this sentence, those are his pencils. They belong to him without using that apostrophe. And then those cool, awesome pencils that are moving in the right-hand corner. Those are his. So, a little practice, filling in the blank. Chris went to the game. Blank brought her little brother with her. You don't need to write this down yet, but think about it. What would we fill in? Right, she. She brought her little brother with her. Because we have the word her at the end, it tells us it is most likely a female pronoun that we need to insert here. So she brought her little brother with her. Randy left blank baseball glove at home. All right, I would use the word his. So Randy left his baseball glove at home. All right, number 3, blank left a book on the ground. I would most likely use an indefinite pronoun here just because I don't know who it is. If you knew that she left a book on the ground, great, use she. But you have to know who it is, otherwise use an indefinite pronoun. All right, 4, blank pair of shoes belongs to James. All right, I'm going to go with the W word because I'm asking a question. So which pair of shoes belongs to James? Because pair, we're most likely talking about one, so which pair? All right, that beach blanket is, what reflexive pronoun, or not reflexive, what personal pronoun could I stick in this place? All right, that beach blanket is theirs. I'm showing ownership, or that beach blanket is ours, that beach blanket is hers, that beach blanket is his, or that beach blanket is someone's if we don't know whose it is. All right, adjectives and adverbs. One big part of writing and speaking is using adjectives and adverbs. So thinking about what is an adjective and what is an adverb. Anyone know what an adjective is? All right, when it comes to an adjective, of course, yes, they describe a person, place, thing. They help describe the noun. And then an adverb with adverbs, they either help modify another adverb or they help modify a verb. So with adverbs, they likely do not do adjectives. It's very small instances that they would. But adverbs, verbs, adjectives go with our nouns. So, of course, adjectives and adverbs are going to be one great way that we can help describe what we're talking about. We can actually get the point across about what we're saying. So looking at these adjectives, adverbs, and even action verbs. I want to compare these two descriptions. So just listen along as A is read and then B is read, and then I want us to discuss it. So for A, as I expectantly leaned out of the window, I inhaled the fresh, fragrant air smelling of wet earth. I glanced up and saw the clouds slowly gather together so that they could release a shower of cool drops upon us down below. The statuesque trees were swaying slowly to the light wind that had picked up. It felt as if Mother Nature herself was getting ready for her dance in the rain. And then letter B. As I leaned out of the window, I smelt the damp smell of earth. Looking up, I saw the ominous clouds gather together to drench us with their cold, heavy, and wet drops. The black trees swayed in the brute wind, as if they were angrily protesting the unexpected downpour that was coming their way. I felt as if Mother Nature was getting ready to cry and let her pain onto us all. All right, so the big point, looking at A versus B, A, yes, has a lot sweeter of a disposition about it. B, aggressive, more angry. Taking a closer look at the words that we used, as I expectantly leaned. So, of course, expectantly leaned, they're somewhat eager. They're happy about this. They're expecting to do something. And then, of course, on the other hand, as I leaned out of the window, I smelt the damp smell of earth. Versus, I inhaled the fresh, fragrant air of smelling of wet earth. So, already here we have a sweeter, fresh, fragrant disposition. You're inhaling, you're taking it all in. It's a little bit more peaceful of an action. And then the damp smell of earth. It just is. It's just there, and it's just saying, you know what? The earth is damp. It's putting it plainly. I glanced up and saw the clouds slowly gather together so that they could release a shower of cool drops. It seems somewhat sweet, smooth, peaceful. And then, on the other hand, to drench us with their cold, heavy, and wet drops. I wouldn't want to be standing in those raindrops if they're cold, heavy, and wet. It kind of sounds like a beatdown. And then the B part continues on. The black tree swayed in the brute wind. That's somewhat aggressive. Versus the statuesque trees were swaying slowly to the light wind that had picked up. Again, calm and peaceful. And then the wind was angrily protesting the unexpected downpour that was coming their way. Other end, B, again, aggressive, angry. And finally, on the A side, it says getting ready for a dance in the rain of Mother Nature. And then B is cry out and let her pain out onto us all. B is very angry. It's very mad at the world. And A is still talking about the peaceful dance. The mood of A is a lot more serene. It's a lot more heartfelt. Whereas B talks about all the anger and emotion that comes with a storm. So on the other hand, we have misplaced and dangling modifiers. So what is a misplaced modifier? Well, a modifier is a word, phrase, or clause that describes or changes the meaning of another word, phrase, or clause in some way. A misplaced modifier means that there is a separation of space between the word, phrase, or clause and the modifier. When a modifier is misplaced, the meaning of it gets fuzzy, meaning you're not sure what's happening or if you're reading it correctly. So, here's a few examples to think about what the real meaning is. On her way to work, Elaine saw the silver woman's earring lying on the park bench. Hopefully you caught, is the woman silver? Is her hair silver? What are you talking about silver? So how you could correct that is by saying, on her way to work, Elaine saw the woman's silver earring lying on the park bench. Just by the change of the word silver to where it's placed, changes the sentence entirely. So now the earring is silver instead of the woman being silver. One thing to also be aware of is watching where your adverbs are placed. Many words that end in ly are adverbs, and they can change the meaning of things to funny things. So we drove off in the car we had just bought quickly. Well, it kind of seems like they're stealing the car. If they're driving away quickly, what just happened? Well, did you buy the car quickly? Did You drive away quickly. You could say it better by saying, we quickly drove off in the car we had just bought. So meaning the purchase was complete, and then we drove away quickly. Other adverbs that don't end in ly are to watch out for. So other adverbs, only, just, and almost. Because where those words are placed can change the meaning greatly. All right, thinking about what... All right, thinking about what was stolen. The stolen man's wallet was placed on the police department's counter. Was the man stolen or was the wallet stolen? Hopefully you know it's the wallet. So the man's stolen wallet was placed on the police department's counter. And then troublesome words that indicate number. Almost and nearly mean close to. Nouns can be counted, verbs can't. So he nearly swam for an hour. Can you nearly swim? Does that mean you're jumping in the air, paddling around? Do you get close to the water? You know, looking at this, you need to change where nearly is. He swam for nearly an hour. Hours can be counted. Swam cannot. It almost cost me $800 for my car insurance. Did you get car insurance? Do you not have car insurance? Better way to say it, it cost me almost $800 for my car insurance. So almost $800 amount. You paid less than $800. And don't forget merely and only. Joey only gave his mother $50 towards rent. And then Joey gave his mother's only $50 toward the rent. So the first one is Joey was the only person. And then the second one was talking about amount. Shouldn't Joey help out more than $50? 50 seems kind of small. And then if you think about the word merely, for the second one, Joey gave his mother merely $50 towards the rent. Would make it better. And then if you say Joey merely gave his mother $50 towards the rent, would also help change the meaning more towards the amount than Joey being the only person. All right, thinking about those words that we said are confusing to adverbs, the word just. Here are 3 different sentences, and where the word just is placed in the sentence changes the entire sentence. Now nothing else moves. The first sentence, just Evan was rushed to the hospital from the accident scene to treat his wounds on his neck. So Evan's the only one in this instance. And then the third sentence, Evan was just rushed to the hospital from the accident scene to treat his wounds on his neck. So the ambulance just got there, and he was talking about time period. And then the third one, Evan was rushed to the hospital from the accident scene to treat just his wounds on his neck. So he wasn't hurt anywhere else. It must not be severe, but just his neck. So thinking about those 3 sentences, just that one word, just, changes everything. So here's why I asked you to get a chance to pull out a piece of paper, get ready to write. I want you to try fixing these 5 sentences. All right, thinking about these sentences. Looking at number 1. It says, I nearly made $100 today. Can made and nearly go together? So how should this sentence be written or sound? All right, I made nearly $100 today. Number 2, when we opened the leather woman's purse. How should we change this?
The woman's leather.
All right, woman's leather purse. Number 3, the job scarcely took an hour to complete. All right, the job took scarcely an hour to complete. 4, I only have 5 minutes to talk to you. I have only 5 minutes. And 5, the striking Honda's paint job made everyone gasp. All right, the Honda striking paint job. Misplaced prepositional phrases. When you place a prepositional phrase in the wrong place, all sorts of funny things can happen. Be careful. So saying, Christine made the brownies for her aunt with chocolate icing. Well, what is the woman doing running around covered in chocolate icing? How it should say is, Christine made brownies with chocolate icing for her aunt. So just by switching around where the chocolate icing goes, it talks about the brownies versus her aunt. And watch out for verbals. Words are verbs that end in, or verbals are verbs that end in ing, or that have the word to before them. So Layla and Rachel talked about dancing in the kitchen making grilled tuna. Well, I wish my kitchen can make me some grilled tuna. That'd be awesome. So what it should say is in a positive, Layla and Rachel, comma, making grilled tuna, comma, talked about dancing in the kitchen. So Layla and Rachel are cooking versus the kitchen cooking. And Drew and Alex drew pictures for Mom to show. Well, is Mom showing the pictures? Or are Drew and Alex showing the pictures to Mom? So saying Drew and Alex drew pictures to show to Mom makes a lot more sense. Unless, of course, Mom is going to show the pictures off at work. And that's what should be stated. And, of course, don't forget those clumsy clauses. So make sure that clauses modify and describe the noun that you want them to modify. So the mechanic drove out the car to Joe that was lubricated. So was it Joe that was lubricated or was it the car? The mechanic drove out the car that was lubricated to Joe. Another example. Next to the lamp, Dawn piled the books that she turned on. Well, can you turn on a book? So Dawn piled the books next to the lamp that she had turned on. The lamp is what was turned on, not the books. And that's what we need to know. Another thing, don't play monkey in the middle. When you move the phrase or clause that was a problem, don't plop it in between two nouns. So the teacher said on Monday she would return our essays. We have on Monday in between the teacher and the pronoun. On Monday doesn't reply to teacher and it doesn't apply to she. So did the teacher tell the class on Monday? Or is she going to return the essays on Monday? We need to make sure that's clear. So we could do the first option. The teacher said she would return our essays on Monday. Or, in a beginning dependent clause, on Monday, comma, the teacher said she would return our essays. So, last moment of practice for you. I want you to write down the sentence. I want you to write down these sentences and make the correct changes. Does not mean you have to write the full complete sentence, but find out what part of the sentence truly needs to be changed and make that change. All right, as you can see, these are the answers that I have made or changed. So for number 1, I put the fans stood in line for 20 minutes to buy tickets for the show. Number 2, of course, chilling article on the effects of mercury poisoning, they need to go together. So I actually put in the New York Times in the beginning as the dependent clause. Number 3, the salesman sold the picture in the silver frame to that woman. 4, we gave the old clothes that had been piled up in the basement to a local charity. 5, the grass that was creating a lush carpet of green was covered by the snow. 6, the terrified patient with a terminal disease spoke to the doctor. And 7, the student who cheated on the test pleaded with the instructor. For 6 and 7, they were quite bad the way they were, because it said, of course, the doctor had the terminal disease, and 7 said that the instructor cheated on the test. And that just doesn't make sense. Why would the instructor ever need to cheat on the test? So, thinking back about dangling modifiers. Live things and machines do actions. If there's an action verb in your sentence, you need something that could perform that action. Whenever you have dangling modifiers, you must add words to the sentence versus just changing them around. So a few more examples out of dangling modifiers. Staring out over the ocean, the hurricane force winds were daunting. That's a physical action. We need a person or a moving object. So the hurricane is not alive. Staring out over the ocean, Matt saw the daunting hurricane force winds. Next one. When in 3rd grade, my mother went back to school. Hopefully as a 3rd grader, you couldn't really enter college. So by saying, when I was in 3rd grade, my mother went back to college. Great. And then, of course, these sentences. You need to actually change and modify the full sentence. So you need to add to it. Looking toward the west, a funnel-shaped cloud stirred up dust. Well, who looked towards the west? Looking towards the west, I saw a funnel-shaped cloud stir up dust. And walking to the movies, the cloudburst drenched Jim. Walking to the movies, Jim was drenched by the cloudburst. Switching that around. Because, of course, the cloudburst couldn't be walking. So another way to fix dangling modifiers. When 9 years old, my father enrolled in medical school. Hopefully that wasn't the case unless your name was Doogie Howser. So when I was 9 years old, my father enrolled in medical school. And having been fixed the night before, Priscilla could use the car. Well, hopefully Priscilla wasn't fixed the night before, the car was. So since the car had been fixed the night before, Priscilla could use it. All right. With these sentences, I want you to fix them and get them into infinity. Lastly, if you have any other questions or concerns, please visit this website. They help with verbs, conjunctions, pronoun case commas, and commonly confused words. Please make sure that all your work from today is turned in. And that is it for today.